Hi, guys. Well, from gorgeous Salt Lake City, Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up today, Dan, we're going to be talking about the newest craze sweeping the nation.
Oh, it's all the rage, everybody.
It's hitting the college campuses.
The kids are just loving it.
Oh, my God.
White supremacy.
Yeah.
Here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about religion and what it has to say about anyone what ain't you.
Yeah, usually doesn't take a good stance on difference.
Historically not great on that one.
Yeah. All right.
But we'll get to that.
Well, cool. All right. Well, Dan.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of the oil Bible? The
No.
oil Bible. Dan. The oil Bible? You haven't heard about this?
It feels like I should have.
Oh, goodness gracious, Dan.
Can we say it with the Texas the old Bible?
Yeah. Jerry Pierce and John Taylor have been traveling the nation, Dan, with the oil Bible.
Okay.
Now, let me tell you, this Bible, when it sort of magically secretes oil.
Oh my God.
Right? Like flows from it. This clear, viscous oil just flows.
That's so gross.
And whenever they're, so apparently part of the trick here is that it doesn't actually seep oil when they're traveling.
Oh.
It only seeps oil at home. But people visit them at home in order to encounter the seeping oil Bible. And people have attributed healings, of course. Right? And pretty much anything you could imagine has been attributed to this Bible.
It's performing miracles is what you're saying.
It is performing miracles. They give away vials of the oil, and they're growing famous and making a lot of money off of the oil Bible. Well, the good folk at, let me see, what is this news organization? It's the their local news, or the Chattanooga Times Free Press.
Okay.
Because I assume somewhere there in Tennessee, in Dalton, if that's a place in Tennessee, the town that they're in is called Dalton.
Okay.
The Times Free Press decided that they were going to do some investigative reporting.
Oh, okay.
So as any good news organization would do. So they started asking around, and they got a source at the Dalton Tractor Supply, which says that Pierce, right, would consistently go in and buy gallons of mineral oil.
Okay.
But company policies prohibited him from telling anything more specific than that. But that's pretty damning right there.
Yeah.
So the Times Free Press paid for a series of chemical analyses of the oil that they were giving out with the oil that was available at the Dalton Tractor Supply.
Okay, sure.
And
like you do.
They sent these analyses or these tests to the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga.
Okay.
That compared the samples, and they said that it was the same thing.
Oh,
right?
shocking.
It's an oil.
What?
It's a petroleum derived, and the results, quote, strongly suggest that the oil sample is mineral oil, just like the stuff for sale, right?
Okay.
And then in the second test that compared the chemical composition of Pierce's oil to the products sold at the Tractor Supply found a nearly exact match.
Are they doing mass spectrometry? Is that what they're doing?
The article doesn't get into such things. And so,
Are they using a gas chromatograph? What are they doing, Frank?
I don't know.
All
Dan.
right, fine.
Their ministry, though, began in 2016, in the week after Donald Trump's inauguration, and both these two guys said that they had a powerful religious experience as oil began coming out of the Bible. Now these guys are just clearly just fucking liars,
Yeah,
right? Just
obviously.
just charlatans,
Right.
Right.
They're just soaking a Bible. They dropped a Bible into a vat of oil one time
Yeah.
and then just made a claim about it and then realized, well, fuck, I'll just keep doing this.
Yeah. And their followers, the people who have been healed, the people who've had deep religious experiences, are predictably
Sticking to their guns.
sticking with them.
Yeah.
Even though clearly
It's a fraud.
it's a complete and utter fraud. So the oil Bible.
Let me tell you something.
That's
kids,
the new big thing.
Here's the thing about human psychology. For most humans, it is more tolerable to believe to deal with the cognitive dissonance of believing something you know has been proven true than to change your mind. It's too painful for most people to change their mind, and so they would rather deal with being idiots, essentially.
Yeah.
Believing something that has been proven false.
Yeah. Well, it's it's the media.
Yeah.
It's satanic.
Right.
It's the devil's newspaper, the Chattanooga Times Free Press.
Yeah.
I'm
sure that's
the
one's
Satanists at the
Lucian Greaves, editor-in-chief.
the Times Free Press. I say good on this local newspaper.
I know, great.
Right? Like,
Dig in.
Well done, guys.
How did they even have any money to do any testing?
It was probably all pro bono,
Right, probably.
including the reporting.
Yes, indeed. Okay. There's no money for independent newspapers anymore. That's what we're getting at, kids.
That's the joke. Yeah.
I'm going to take us to Virginia, the state of Virginia, where recently, and in the state's House of Delegates, they had this isn't my story, but they recently had one pastor, Reverend Robert Grant Jr., give a long invocation at a long prayer in which he talked about saving the little abortion babies and hating on making sure that you properly hate on the gays and all of that sort of thing.
No, I mean that sounds like a really good prayer.
It's important. It's important. The best part of which I played for you, which was him saying that the little fetuses that need protecting are in their trimesters right now.
It makes you wonder how his brain works.
I'm definitely not misrepresenting that at all. I promise
No,
you.
you're not.
That's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
Anyway, you tell me what a trimester is. Anyway, that same Virginia literally just passed the South's first laws to protect LGBTQ people.
Really?
Ain't that some shit right there?
Well, I mean, Virginia.
Well, you elect you elect a bunch of Democrats, and
They're going to do what Democrats do.
if you're not careful,
Yeah.
they'll start being nice to gay people.
They'll just start being nice.
They'll start protecting people.
Like
and
poor people might get taken care of.
oh my gosh, rights might be honored.
Healthcare might be provided.
Don't you bite your tongue, mister.
Why is it that like one party wants just like a decent place to live
Handouts? One party wants handouts?
and the other one is just so goddamned against it?
Well,
And the only thing they want is no abortions and prayer in the schools. Like, what the fuck?
and bootstraps. Everyone,
Because to pick yourself up with.
That's right. What happens is you get born. You can't be. Nobody's allowed to abort anybody.
Free
And the
bootstraps for all.
second you come out of that vagina, they hand you a bootstrap and say, "You're on your own, kid.
That's their idea.
Pull yourself up by this." No, apparently it's not. It still hasn't been signed into law, but
Right.
yes, it passed through, and so now LGBTQ Virginians can rest comfortably knowing they cannot be denied housing, they cannot be denied employment opportunities.
Right.
So, of course, there was some pushback from the Christians in the state who are screaming about their rights being infringed upon
Okay.
because they demand the right to discriminate against gay people. What about all of the poor the real victims in this?
Here's the deal. I think we're gonna have to come up with some sort of compromise. Let's just say they have the right to say rude things to gay people.
They do.
No, but let's guarantee it, Dan.
Let's put it in the Constitution.
Let's put it in the Constitution.
You have
They can say rude things about gay people, and if there was like a punch card system, like they get one freebie a year,
just directly to somebody's face.
To a gay person.
All right,
and the gay people understand. Hey, we've got all this other stuff, so this is it, right? Like they get to get this off their chest.
Give me your card.
I get to like make sure that my employment is safe and my housing is taken care of. I mean, I told you a while back. I mean, Dave and I got, harassed at the Harmons.
Hate crimed.
Yeah, it was right around Pride. We were buying hot dogs.
It's so dumb. I'm sorry. Let me. So, lest you think that I was exaggerating before, by the way, I do have a quote from a Republican named David LaRock.
Oh, that. How do you spell that?
LaRock.
That is an awesome name.
It's a good name.
That's a good name.
LaRock. Anyway,
it means the rock.
Yes, it's French for the rock. Who said, as well-intentioned as they may be, it is always policies like this which add sexual orientation and gender identity to laws and ordinances that cause the government to be weaponized against people.
God.
Because let me tell you something. You don't count as a person, Frank. I count as a person.
Right.
But I don't count as real person until I'm Christian. Right. Anyway, he closed
they just like themselves being weaponized against gay people.
Right, exactly. He said there are compelling he said these are people who are being targeted and punished for their sincere faith as a result of these policies. There are compelling reasons for us not to go forward with this bill. We shouldn't want anyone to be victimized or mistreated because of who they are, including sincere Christians.
Oh, God, they're just painting themselves out to be the biggest victims.
You know who the real victims are in all of this? Not the gay person who's been denied housing, who's been kicked out of their...
Right.
Not the gay teenager who was abused and kicked out of their home.
Right.
Not the trans person who suffers indignities constantly at the hands of hateful bigots.
Right.
It's the bigots that are the real victims here.
It's amazing. They are really trying to sell this one, and God, they come off as the worst human beings.
They sure do. And the best part is how much they believe their own shtick.
Yeah.
Oh, they buy into it hook, line, and sinker.
God, it's fucking amazing.
The real victims.
Oh my God. Well, Dan.
Yeah.
Utah. Let's come back to Utah.
I've been to Utah. Now
you've spent a lot of time.
I've spent my share. Yeah. More than my share.
I've spent a lot of time in Utah. But you just, I mean, you still have me beat by like a couple decades.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, Utah's famous for some things, right? We've got great national parks, great skiing. The snow's amazing.
Mountains,
right?
Deserts.
God, we got it all.
We got it all, baby.
Really, it's amazing.
Yeah. A huge lake that you can't drink out of.
No, you can't swim. You just float.
Yeah, you can't sink. You can swim, but you can't sink. Try it.
I mean, swimming of sorts. Because you're too buoyant.
It makes it easier to swim. You just don't want to. Anyway.
Something else that we're famous for.
Sure.
Polygamy.
Yes, that's true.
Right? A lot of people, when they think of Utah, they think of polygamy. Probably even before they think of a lot of that other stuff.
That's so true.
All these really great things that we've got.
They think Mormons.
And they're just going to think Mormons.
And then they're going to think
polygamy. And they're going to think that those two things actually
coincide or
are the same thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Of sorts. Well, they're not. The Mormon church sort of kind of disavowed polygamy back in the day.
No, they very much did.
Well,
they didn't do it great the first time around.
They disavowed it, and then they sort of kind of abandoned it.
Right.
And
then they finally
abandoned it.
And now they are just, no, we don't do it.
Right. But nonetheless, even with that in mind, there's a tradition in Utah. The attorney general of the state, they kind of hand this down one to the other, usually a Mormon, right? They don't really go after the polygamists. They could.
It's true.
Right.
It's not a thing that's prosecuted here. Warren Jeffs had to get to Texas before he got prosecuted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he was up to horrifying things.
Yes, indeed.
Like truly, truly horrifying things. Well, nonetheless, Utah lawmakers on Monday unanimously approved a bill that would decriminalize polygamy officially among consenting adults. And and that's
the important line right there.
Yeah.
Because the big problem with polygamy is lack of consent within those polygamous cultures.
You mentioned Warren Jeffs.
Right.
I mean, he took child brides.
Right. And
these underage girls.
Yeah. 14 years old.
Yeah. Like maybe. Right.
And if he wasn't marrying them, he was marrying them off to some other guy.
Absolutely.
At that age.
There's also another kind of polygamist in this state, like the polygamists of that TV show Sister Wives.
Oh yeah.
The husband's name is Cody Brown. The wives, who knows?
Who even cares?
There's the one with the long hair. There's the other one with the long hair. Oh, and then there's the one with the long hair.
Sure.
Right. I don't know. I never watched the show.
I've never watched that show.
But yeah, nonetheless, they've been trying this. This is kind of a push that comes up from time to time.
Sure.
This is not the first time they've tried to decriminalize it. It is currently a felony. It has been for the last 85 years.
Yeah.
But the idea is that if you do officially decriminalize it, that you can shed a lot of light on it.
I think so.
The people maybe won't be practicing it quite so much in hiding.
Right.
There's when it was made a felony, back, what would that have been, in the 50s? If it was 40s? If it was 80?
I don't know.
85 years ago. Nonetheless, like that was a time that really pushed a lot of these guys way into the dark corners of the state.
Right.
And that's when a lot of the really shitty practices became really entrenched and like got really culty and awful. I mean, it was always culty, but just really, really culty and awful and very insular and so they're hoping that this could potentially help out a lot with that. And people like,
is it looking like it's going to pass?
Well, I mean, it was unanimously approved to go forward.
Right.
I think this is probably the best chance that it's had in a long time.
Interesting. And decriminalization is not the same as legalization.
It is not, right? Because legalization would mean that you would be adopting some sort of legal framework for the whole thing, probably, right? Like if you legalize that kind of marriage, then you could go down to your county courthouse and pull a marriage license for each of the wives.
Which I'm all in favor of. I don't care. Like, why do we care? Like I said, if everybody is fully consenting,
right,
fully aware of everybody else, and they've worked out a legal arrangement for everything, because, there's property rights and everything that's tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Why does anybody care? Other than Jesus told me I'm not supposed to do that. Like, I don't see the problem. It doesn't make any sense.
I see the complete unraveling of society.
There is that. I guess I hadn't thought of that. I hadn't thought about the complete unraveling of society.
I'm really not sure what it would say about my marriage.
Yeah, that's true. You're not married, though. But
Dan,
yes.
How dare you? How dare you, Dan?
You don't get to talk about this. You're not married. What do you know?
No.
Well, okay. I'm going to take us to some interesting data analysis, because for the past like 25 years, we have seen a sharp increase in the number of nuns, the number of people who say that they are not affiliated with a religion. Now, one must remind our listeners that unfortunately they do not break it down into agnostic, atheist, and just spiritual but not religious or whatever bullshit people want to come up with. It's just one big catch-all category, but it's the biggest, fastest growing category in the country.
Right.
It's all the rage.
Oh yeah. And people can't help them.
Yeah,
the church sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's finally feeling free to say it.
That's right. Well, and there's no at least in the U.S. there's decreasing amounts of pressure to be in a religion.
Depends on where you are.
Not the South. I said the United States, Frank, not the bullshit at the bottom. Anyway, can we just call the South the bullshit at the bottom? Can that just be their new name? Maybe not. So here's the thing. With millennials, and that would be people born sort of between 1981 and 1996, roughly. They are nuns at a level of about 40% in this country.
Jesus Christ.
Now, if the trend were continuing, we'd see Gen Z, the generation directly after that, following in that sort of meteoric rise of nuns.
Right.
Well, current data is showing a leveling off.
Oh.
Current data shows they're nuns at almost exactly the same rate as millennials.
I don't like this story.
I didn't think you would. So that's an interesting fact. We don't know enough yet to really be able to see what's going to happen in the next 30 years or whatever. But it makes sense to me that there would be a backlash, that there would be a swing back. Because
is this backlash?
I don't know if it's
backlash. It doesn't sound like backlash. It sounds like,
a leveling off.
The same base. Yeah, leveling off.
But it is interesting. Who knows how it's going to play out? I tend to think we know that that it's going to keep climbing, that number is going to keep climbing, and the way that we know that is because church is stupid,
right?
And education might be available,
right? What I would say is that because there is still this link in the country between politics and religion, I think what you're seeing is further evidence of the two Americas, right? And so it reaching about 40% or whatever would make sense, and it potentially could really hold. You have the left that is not religious. You have the right that is more so.
Yeah.
Right. And there's obviously people on both sides that don't fit that stereotype, but I think that's what you're saying. Like we would literally have to get over onto the other side of the political aisle, right?
Yeah. In
order to advance that number probably any higher.
Well, and there's also questions of like racial diversity because Hispanics apparently of Gen Z are religious at 67%.
Okay.
African Americans at 66%.
Right.
So that changes things. And those are increasing sectors of our society.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows where it's going to go?
Go and deconvert a Latino person. Friends. Go out there and help your black friend out of his church.
Yeah.
You'll be doing the world a favor.
No. Yeah. All right. Well, Dan.
Yeah.
Arkansas.
We've been there.
I'm going to throw a few words at you. Arkansas.
Okay.
Public television.
Sure.
Gay actor on Sesame Street. Now, what do you think a Republican state senator would do in Arkansas with that scenario? What do you think their reaction would be?
Come out of the closet. Just say, Sesame Street has finally given me permission.
And I'll say not just any gay actor. The actor who plays Pray Tell on Pose. Are you familiar with Pose?
I don't watch Pose.
Well,
Andrea watches Pose.
Anyway.
Is this Billy Porter?
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Who's fabulous.
Fabulous. Famous, I guess, for a tuxedo dress.
Oh my God, did you see it? It was like not this Oscars, but I think it was last year's Oscars or whatever.
Yeah, well, there's a picture
was it
right
Emmys?
here because this is the picture that Sesame Street tweeted out.
Oh, Sesame Street didn't have
He's going to be on Sesame Street.
Oh, okay.
Right? In, apparently, or at least in the promotional materials, in the tuxedo dress.
Right. Even if
Because here he is. This backdrop, that's Sesame Street.
I love it.
He is on the set of Sesame Street, and Sesame Street, the show, is just like, he's going to be like the host or whatever you call it, right?
Sure.
The guest appearance is what he's going to be making.
Yeah.
On like the premier PBS children's show.
Right.
And an Arkansas state senator by the name of Jason Rappert, Republican.
Yeah. I've heard that name. We've had that name on our show before.
He has already announced his 2022 campaign for Arkansas lieutenant governor. He posted on Facebook that Porter's appearance on the show is part of the, quote, radical LGBTQ agenda.
Correct.
And he suggested that public funding for the show be cut. This is what they love. They love this.
Oh,
right?
Oh, yeah. The idea that they cutting public funding for PBS and NPR and whatever.
Yeah.
That is a horse that they will ride forever.
They love it. They love it. They love it. Well, I'm like, okay, state senator, go after PBS.
Yeah.
Right? You can't cut their funding. Well, he can, in theory, if he gets enough people who think like him to join his cause in the legislature. They could potentially cut funding to AETN, Arkansas's PBS affiliate.
Oh, you
right?
Asshole.
So apparently he says that he has been a defender and champion for public broadcasting, but that allowing a gay man in a dress on a children's TV show is a step too far.
Well,
and so he's initially he's proposing that they cut funding for national programming on AETN. And if necessary, just fucking defund AETN, period.
Wow.
There's a petition that's been going around. Not his petition, but it's been going around. The petition says that Sesame Street is trying to, quote, push drag queens on children, even though Billy Porter isn't a drag queen.
I just love the image of like some fabulous drag queen is walking down the street and there's a kid walking up and somebody just goes, "Huh!"
Yeah, literally pushing drag queens onto
directly
children.
onto a child.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently there's so they're claiming that this petition claims that Porter's appearance on the show will sexualize children.
Yes.
And they cite some statistic about the epidemic of they actually cite a real statistic about the epidemic of suicide among transgender youth. But they're implying, right, of course, that Sesame Street will turn kids transgender,
right,
and being transgender leads to suicide.
Right.
Not
then mentioning that the reason being trans increases your risk of suicide is because of assholes like him.
Exactly.
Making them feel like shit.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's not the being trans that's the problem. It's the assholes around you that are the problem. But, oh, well.
Dan, I don't think you have a very good understanding of this. This guy.
I must not.
This Arkansas state senator.
Yeah.
So you know he's like a real peach.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
also
truly up on all the issues.
One of the sharpest spoons in the drawer.
Jason Rappert, he understands these things.
He gets
you
it.
Don't.
No.
Clearly do not understand.
I never get any of the things. Well, I'm going to close with a fascinating thing that has happened.
Mm-hmm.
A Georgetown resident, going by the name of Brian Bolton, an 80-year-old retired professor.
Okay.
He was a professor of psychology at the Illinois Institute of Technology.
Oh, okay.
And then also at University of Arkansas.
Okay, Arkansas. Okay.
Has donated $1 million to the University of Texas to start a professorship focused on the nuns, focused on us.
What? Whoa. I got an important question here. This guy was a college professor? He has $1 million hanging around? What kind of professing did he do?
The profitable kind.
The book writing kind.
Yeah, I don't know.
The getting published.
I don't know where he got his money from.
Wow. Good on him. I was so I saw this headline. I thought that it was just some like billionaire type.
Yeah, no, it's easy.
Wow, good for him.
Somebody send him our Patreon page, will you? Anyway, yeah. So this is the new thing. It's weird because he has no connection to University of Texas. He has never set foot on the campus of University of Texas.
Is he okay? Have
But
people,
yes,
checked
he's
in to make sure he's doing okay.
Yeah, he just knows the reputation of the university and
wow,
thought that was the right place for it. So now they have a chair that is devoted entirely to the study of secular people.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
Wow. Secular studies.
Yeah, exactly. It's a rising.
It's the next big thing.
It's the next big thing.
Because I took some gender studies in college. Are they developing a whole thing?
Yeah, they're learning all about us so that they can figure out how to get rid of us.
I don't think that's true.
No, he says, Bolton said, I'm not anti-religious. I'm just not religious. I have good friends who are Catholics and fundamentalists and Jews, and I like them very much, but I don't like some of their views. So he has...
That kind of rhymed.
Yeah, there you go.
I just don't like some of their views.
Yeah, exactly. He basically, he's... so there you go. There you have it. He is funding the good works out there in the world.
Nice.
It's good to know people like him are out there.
Yeah, good on him.
Yeah.
I like to think if I had a little extra money sitting around,
you'd sponsor a chair at a university.
Yeah, maybe. I don't have any money sitting around.
No,
that's a problem.
Unfortunately,
and chairs at university apparently are fairly expensive.
Yeah. Podcasters can get rich, but most of us don't.
Yeah, we haven't.
You and I, we haven't quite been able to. It'll happen. It'll happen at some point.
The American dream.
Yeah, exactly.
The new American dream.
Yeah. Well, kids, if you would like to write to us to tell us how we can get rich, please feel free to do so. Podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click on that like button.
And while you're there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group, but we'll let you in. Oh, Dan.
Oh, dear.
Dan.
Oh,
let me tell you, if there is one thing that has my complete undivided attention right now in this world, it's the coronavirus. I have commenced prepping. I'm hoarding face masks.
Well, I noticed
while they're still available.
Yeah.
I have some.
You've stocked your shelter. Your bomb shelter.
I've been stocking toilet paper.
You're thinking of all the things.
Do you want to live through a horrifying pandemic and not have anything to wipe your ass with?
No, nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
So anyway, I think though that you might have made a calculated error.
Oh,
and the way that I know that is that our country is going to be protected from the coronavirus.
Oh.
And we've got a guy to prove it.
Somebody who knows how it works.
Who understands everything. He knows that if you don't do abortions and you know, you're...
Well, let's just, should we just play it?
Yeah, just play the thing.
Play it. Okay, this guy, his name is Hank Kuhneman.
Yeah.
Should you want to look him up.
He's a pastor.
Listen to the words that I speak to you at this moment, says the living God. Why do you fear, United States? For I have spoke to you before, and I speak to you again. I have extended and opened a window of mercy to this nation at this time. Therefore, the virus that they speak of, the prognostication, the diagnosis, the fear, my mercy is the quarantine that shall be greater than what they have spoken to you, United States. And because of the administration that stands in this land, who honor me, who honor the covenants of your forefathers and of the Constitution, and because they have aligned themselves with Israel, and because they have sided on the right side of life, life in the womb, life given outside of the womb. Therefore, I give life to this nation and I give mercy. Do not fear. This virus is the Spirit of God.
If you stand on the right side of Israel...
Yeah. Let me tell you, Dan, I feel better now.
Don't you just?
I feel better. Like, I didn't know that that's what they were up to this whole time.
They're just trying to protect us.
You know, I didn't realize.
The Lord has now rolled a condom over this country. We are safe, baby. It's easy.
Yeah.
And if not, you guys can go online. I think Frank tweeted about it. You can go and find go to the TGIA Twitter feed.
Yeah.
And find Jim
At TGI Atheist.
At TGI Atheist and find the thing about that Jim Baker did.
Yeah.
Jim Baker will save you from the coronavirus if Jesus doesn't do it.
All you have to do is drink poison.
It's not poison.
And I guess you don't drink it.
I think you do drink it.
You take spoonfuls.
Well, that's drinking.
You don't guzzle. Like, I think drinking, you pour it into a glass and make a cocktail or something.
If you want to be safe from that coronavirus, you better start guzzling. It's just silver. It's not going to kill you.
Okay, all right.
It'll turn you blue. We had some folks write into us. Saint Alyssa of the Great Chicago Temple has written into us.
Nice.
Yeah. She says, "Hey, guys. Just wanted to drop a line. Someone suggested your show to me, and to be honest, I was really skeptical. I didn't consider myself religious, but I just didn't care about it enough to call myself an atheist.
Oh.
I've known the Mormon church wasn't true since 10 or so. I was literally kicked out at 14 for refusing to go to seminary, and again at 16 for not going to church, and again at 17 likely for the same reason." Wow, that's a lot of times.
Well done.
Yeah, I guess so. After that, for years, I just didn't bother removing my name from the records, sadly, partially due to the fact that I was so instilled with fear. Oh. That church is great for making you fear every damn thing. Mm-hmm. At 25, I did actually remove my name from the records. Shout out to r/ex-Mormon, I guess that's a Reddit thing, for helping me figure out how. I'm almost 30, and it's taken therapy and some serious studying to get to the place I am now. I've never had anyone to relate to other than my sister when it came to leaving the church. But what is crazy is how much I have in common with the stories I've heard you tell. Being that you both grew up in all Mormon households and Dan in Utah. I just wanted to explain why this podcast has hit home. It's been really comforting to know that others out there had the same weird upbringing. When I try to explain it to people, they just don't really understand how oppressive a home how oppressive of a home life it was. Mm-hmm. It's not their fault, of course. They were raised they were normal religions like Catholic or Episcopal. Keep the great podcast coming, St. Alyssa. Well, thanks, Alyssa. Yeah, it's a wacky thing being raised in what is essentially a cult.
Yeah.
I still have trouble calling it that word because it just
I know. Like,
it doesn't have all the trappings of what I associate with cultishness.
here's the deal. It's maybe diet cult,
Diet cult,
right?
diet cult.
Like it's not. You're right. You're right. But the mind fuck, the and I know this happens in a lot of just like more conservative type religions, but the really sheltering your kids, right?
And
I think about the ways that I would like crazy sheltering,
Yeah.
right? And just didn't have a fucking clue, right?
Yeah.
About the world or just life or anything.
And
Like,
all of this focus on family is everything. Family
Yeah.
is the most important thing until somebody steps half a step out of line,
right.
and then fuck you, get out of my house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much for family.
Right. Well, and if family's everything and you have a shitty family,
Right.
I'm not saying that mine was, but like if that were,
Yeah.
right? Like,
If you happen to get stuck with assholes for parents,
Yeah.
and you're supposed to honor them,
right.
fuck that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. We had somebody write into us. In the most recent episode, you listed a group of countries and said, see if you can spot a trend. She's talking to me, actually,
Oh, okay.
because I was talking about a list of countries that the U.S.-led coalition of countries on
Religious freedom.
religious freedom.
Yeah.
They were talking. I think our guy singled out Mike Pompeo singled out several countries
Yeah.
as being particularly shitty,
Right.
in terms of religious freedom.
Right.
And I made okay, I'll go on with the email. Among the countries listed was Myanmar, and the trend you were referring to was later stated as all these countries are heavily Muslim populated. Myanmar is not only not heavily Muslim populated, but the very few Muslims who were there recently went through an ethnic cleansing. It's a Buddhist country, not a Muslim country. I think I said something about the Rohingya,
I think so. Yeah.
but I wasn't clear about that, and that's absolutely a correct correction for me to say yes. Of those countries, Myanmar definitely didn't count as a Muslim country, and they weren't even persecuting Christians. So I was way off, except all the other countries were that. Anyway, thank you for that correction. This is this is another one that was unsigned. Trump and the GOP seem like they're sowing the seeds for a future rich with red-leaning supporters, and it's a really quite devious plan. By keeping the population poor and poorly educated, there's a better chance they will vote conservative. I hope you Americans can turn this ship around, because it feels like you are slowing global progress on climate change and most of the important social issues.
Yeah.
Love you guys. Love the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Listen, when you're the most powerful country in the world,
Right.
sometimes you get to speed things up. Sometimes you get to slow them down.
Saw something recently about how I forget how many countries it took, right? Like there's this collection of countries that they added all of their emissions, total carbon emissions up, and our military alone.
Oh, just our military.
Just the military.
Not the country.
No. The military far exceeds the carbon footprint of entire, like, not just like, clearly you can pick a small little, it was like a huge collection.
Like
of
industrialized countries.
something like that.
Wow.
I mean, the military's absurdly large.
Yeah.
And
we can kill all y'all.
and completely exempt from like all of these, like any kind of regulations that we do have.
Oh yeah, any discussion of like, oh well, we got to save money. Quick, kill Big Bird. We can't afford that. We have to save money in this country. You're taxing us to death.
Right.
Well, what about a military that's twice the size of
beyond anything you could possibly
twice the size of the next like three
ever need.
largest militaries put together.
Yeah.
No, wait, what? We have to be able to kill everybody else on this planet.
Yeah.
If we need to.
Yeah.
Which we can, motherfuckers. Don't fuck with us. Did we have a voicemail that we needed to play?
We do. Let's see. We have a frequent caller.
It's our friend Donnie.
Our friend Donnie. And he's got oh my God. He brings up a piece of Mormon culture
That
and he does a pretty good job of
everybody get your pens and pencils ready because you're all going to want to jump onto YouTube and check this shit out.
And look this up. So let's hear what he has to say.
Hey guys, this is Donnie in Mount Shasta, California. I've called a couple times before. I just wanted to let you know I was finally able to become a patron after getting a raise at work, and I'm really excited to be able to contribute. But I was listening to the episode Christmas Crusade, and very briefly, Frank referenced Johnny Lingo. And I have to say, I made my boyfriend watch that show because it seriously is stuck in my head my entire life. Like, I can still remember, Mahana, you ugly, do you want me to come up there and beat you with a stick? And then Johnny going, I will pay 8 cows for Mahana. And after, like, quoting it a couple times, he's like, where is that from? Why do you say that? And I'm like, it makes me laugh every time, so I made him watch it on YouTube. Anyway, love the show. You guys are great. Keep up the good work.
You guys.
It is truly an amazing thing.
Yeah, you kind of need to watch. It's this Mormon made probably in the 80s?
Early 80s, probably. BYU film.
Yeah.
Right? Like they used to do this. They used to make little weird, random little films that would circulate around, and there'd be like little moral lessons or whatever. But the films themselves weren't overtly, or didn't necessarily have to be overtly sort of Mormon-y, right?
But they needed to have a really good lesson.
Yeah.
It's a really good lesson from this one.
Oh, God.
I don't think you can find it. I've looked for it.
It's a mess.
Like, I can't even figure out what their take on their good message was.
Inner beauty.
Yeah.
Johnny Lingo saw how beautiful she was inside. And she inside was worth 8 cows.
Yeah, she's an 8-cow woman. You don't see an 8-cow woman every day.
No.
Let me tell you.
Oh, he broke records with the 8
Oh, that was record breaking.
Yeah.
That was unprecedented number of cows to buy a woman.
Oh, guys, yeah. Oh, just Johnny Lingo.
Johnny Lingo, go
watch the whole thing.
We've said too much.
Just brace yourself.
Do we have some people to thank?
We do have people to thank.
Oh,
Dan. Oh my
yay.
God. We have one new faithful listener this week.
Okay.
Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
And 2 new venerable listeners.
Oh.
Christy and Moist Tittyvillis.
Titivillus?
Titivillus. There we go.
Oh, wow.
So thank you very much. Thank you to all 3 of you.
Yeah.
And as always, we have our top donor, Dan.
Yes.
Our Lord and Savior.
Long may they wave.
Davis.
All right, kids. If you would like to be a part of keeping this shit rolling, we would love for you to do so. If you have $1 million to give to a chair at a university, just break off a piece of that for us.
Surely you've
let us wet our beaks. Come on.
$1 or 2.
Yeah. So if you want to do that, go to thankgodimatheist.com, click on the support tab, takes you to Patreon. You join the group. You'll get access to an ad-free version of the show. If at the right amount, you'll get access to the Frank and Dan Diaries.
Oh my God, the Frank and Dan Diaries.
That is extra content for you every week.
Yeah. It's content. That's all I can guarantee is that it's content.
Oh, it's just great. It's excellent quality programming. but we're not going to tell you any more about it. The only way you're going to find out is if you give.
Yeah.
But thanks so much to all of our patrons. Let's press forward.
Dan.
Hey.
So like sometimes there's like a group of people so special, so pure, inherently, like obviously their ancestry is,
Genetically perfect beings.
perfect, right? Just it doesn't happen all the time.
It's very
but there
rare.
is one particular group of people that just somehow like are just the epitome of the human species.
You could say they're superior.
perhaps.
They're supreme. That's what they are. They are supreme.
Yes, and of course we're talking about white people.
White folk. Obviously.
Good old boring white people.
There's never... You literally can't look at a white person without going, well, that person's supreme. Oh my goodness. The world is full of white ding-dongs, and here's the thing. Many of them actually believe the things that we just said.
Yeah.
That somehow white folk are better than people who ain't white, which is a kooky notion on its face.
And somehow the good Lord gave white people this nation.
Oh yeah, well,
I mean, we had to clear it out first.
we kind of took it.
Yeah.
Which thanks Jesus for that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing though. We did a decent job of getting rid of a lot of the white supremacy in this country, meaning we did away with that whole slavery thing. So that was good. And then we let the races vote eventually. We're still trying to keep, a bunch of us are still trying to keep them from voting. But legally they're allowed to. There's still plenty of prejudice in these United States. Plenty of prejudice. But the good news is, there is no good news. The bad news is that's growing. We're losing that battle. We are literally losing ground pretty dramatically.
Yeah.
On that, there was some recent studies that came out that showed there was a report from the Anti-Defamation League's Center on Extremism that found a total of 2,713 cases of white supremacist leafleting on and off of United States college campuses. That represents a doubling of just the year before. So 2019, double what was out there in 2018. So they're recruiting.
Yeah.
They are on the hunt for...
Well, and this stuff is like, it's not overtly like these little pamphlets, and it's not like, whites are great, everybody else sucks.
No, they've gotten
actually a little more subtle.
Yeah. Now it's just defend America.
Yeah, they've got these weird little catchphrases that kind of lure you in, right?
Right. Well, I like America.
Yeah.
I would defend America. Well, defend it from its own citizens. How about that? Which ones?
The ones that don't look like you.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay. Look, they're openly saying it now. We got Rick Wiles out there just talking about how the Jews are now responsible for everything. The Jew coup has occurred.
Right.
We got people, they don't know. We got the guy that we played who is going on his Faggots or Maggots tour. It's just out there right now. And everybody's feeling pretty damn emboldened to just be the assholes that they were born to be.
Right.
And I wanted to talk about the idea that this is inextricably linked to religion. It doesn't have to be. You could be a white supremacist,
a racist.
A racist.
Of any kind, yeah.
You could be a racist without religion.
Right.
It's totally doable.
Right.
And yet, the vast majority is deeply, deeply tied into religion.
Yeah.
So that got me thinking about, well, why?
Yeah.
Why is it so? Because Jesus, ostensibly, kind of had a big hug for everybody. It was like a love everybody kind of guy.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Also, ironically here, not white.
Yeah.
Not of European descent.
Decidedly not.
Northern European descent.
Right. Right. Yeah. The Bible was not written. The King James was not the first version of the Bible. Right. Despite what some people actually think in this country, it was not written originally in English. So the idea, I think the thing that it comes down to is a very, I don't know. I want to go all the way back to great apes because that's what we are. We are evolutionarily speaking
great apes.
Great.
We're like the greatest.
We're the greatest apes.
Yeah.
Like all those other apes.
We're the supreme.
We're the
apes.
best apes. We're the greatest apes. All the other apes are. We're better than all of the apes.
Yeah.
However, we are still apes, and the thing is, within ape cultures, including our own, in-group and out-group is a really important concept. If you're one of us, then I feel safe around you. If you're one of them, I don't, and I want to attack you. And I think that is deeply embedded in our DNA. I think it's a very human thing. It is a very ape thing to say, if you're not a member of a group that I recognize, I'm going to attack. And there you get, and I think religion plays into that at its DNA. I think built into the DNA of religion from the beginning, it has always had this sense
In-group,
of
out-group.
We are one thing, they are another thing. And you read the Bible, and it's all that. It's all about like you're my chosen people, and yes,
And go kill all of those who are not.
literally all the Canaanites, all the Midianites, all the Jebusites. I love that. That's a real one. Jebusites.
That sounds made up.
Literally kill every single one of them.
Right.
Leave none of them alive. In some cases, you can keep some of the women for,
I mean,
for raping purposes or whatever. And slavery, your basic slavery.
right.
But like the fact that it's so deeply embedded into the religion itself, I think is the problem.
Well, I mean, when we were talking about sort of connection of racism and religion and everything, and I sort of thought about the idea. It's almost like you have to believe in some kind of God to have set your specific race apart, right? Like you don't just, I mean, you could come up with like racism, right? All on your own without any kind of religious belief, right? But to be like, to take it the next level,
To properly bolster your racism.
yeah, you gotta like have this like, we are endowed by God as the best,
Right. Exactly.
right?
So you make sure your God resembles you.
Yeah.
So you make sure that Jesus isn't dark, because fuck you. Or you make sure that Buddha is Chinese, because fuck you.
Right.
And then step one, make sure that your God looks like you.
Right.
Step two,
What if you don't know what your God looks like?
well, that's the Muslims' problem. That's a real bit of a mind fuck for the Muslims. They're not allowed to even draw their prophet.
I know.
Which,
Silly.
without that, like, look, if you can't even paint a picture of your prophet, how do you know that he's one of your race? How do you bolster your racism then?
Yeah.
Muslims are the worst at racism. They're just good at hating everyone who isn't Muslim.
Yeah, that's more their thing.
I wonder what racism looks like in Islam.
I'm sure it's there, but I know that like officially, like they're like the whole idea was that it's a universal religion. It needs to go to all the races. Right? There's probably some Arab snootiness.
Yeah.
But I really can't say. That's me just kind of
guessing. Yeah, I don't know enough about Muslim cultures, but I mean they're all over the world. Mm-hmm. They look all kinds of different. Mm-hmm. But then again, so do the Christians, and boy howdy, a Christian can, the KKK will look at a black Christian and be plenty willing to throw that guy under a bus.
Yeah,
I'm speaking metaphorically, but also not. Oh, kids, I think the conclusion here is if you've left your religion, please make sure you also leave your racism at the door. We don't want your racism in the thinking world. And I don't know what to do about it. It's just one of those things where religion ruins everything. Once again, religion is basically just a tool to oppress and hurt people. But they say nice things.
Yeah,
so that's good.
Yeah, I'm glad they say nice things.
Yeah.
If nothing else, I mean, if you can't, say anything,
if you can't say something nice, then maybe
just hate.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, if you have anything you'd like to add to this, if you'd like to explain why your racism is still important to you after leaving your religion, don't. But if you have anything else you want to say to us, please write to us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yep. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click the like button.
And while you're there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group, but we will let you in. Follow us on Twitter.
Yes.
@TGIAtheist. It's happening.
We need your follow.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of the social media, thanks so much to Mackenzie for all of her work on the Facebook page. Thanks to Danny and Amy for being mods in the Members Only Lounge.
And a big thanks goes out to the Red Hot Club and to Gordon Johnston for the use of their music.
And thanks to all of you for tuning in.
Bye-bye.